Welcome to Heron Island. This is a beautiful southern Great Barrier Reef island off the coast of Queensland, which is where I live. This is about 6 hours north of where I live, and I've come up here to spend my digital sabbatical of 2021. And frankly, it's a pretty good choice so far. So welcome to my digital sabbatical. This time I've taken myself away from the internet instead of taking the internet away from me. And it was awesome to switch off, turn off the internet. There's no internet service here, there's no phone service here. I mean, you can pay, but it's expensive, and I figure it's a great excuse not to. So why take a digital sabbatical? Why turn off from the internet? And what is a digital sabbatical is what I want to talk about in today's video. I do this at least once a year. I take at least a week off and just don't use the internet, don't really use my phone much. It's actually really freeing to just put the phone away and not really touch it for a week. We're so attached and so addicted to our phones, and even when I'm home, I work at home and I find I'm carrying it around all the time in my pocket or in my hand, and it's unusual that I've put it down for a few hours and don't know where it is. So it's nice to have that disconnect, especially when you do run an online business and your livelihood is connected to being online and being visible. It can be really scary to step away from that for a while, but it's also incredibly worthwhile. So what is a digital sabbatical anyway? Well, I think it's different for everybody, and I've experimented with lots of different types of sabbaticals. I've had the, not allowed to use email and social media or any sort of messaging service sabbatical, but I've still been able to use the internet. I've done literally no digital anything, and then there's the, I'm allowed to use, say, navigation like Google Maps and the internet to research where I am if I'm traveling during my sabbatical. And then this one that I'm on right now is a literally zero internet for an entire week sabbatical. So I have no access to the internet. I'm using absolutely nothing. I had to download some books on my Kindle to read before I came, and I had to download some music or stuff to listen to, and I've literally not touched the internet. It's now Wednesday. I started my sabbatical on Sunday, so I've not touched the internet since Sunday, and I won't get back on there till next Monday. So it's a full 8 days with literally zero internet. And I have to say, I'm really, really enjoying having no access to the internet, and I'm actually not missing it at all. I know that wouldn't last forever. I'd want to access it to answer questions or to download some more books to read. But considering how much time I spend on the internet when I'm at home and how often I reach for my phone or hop on the computer and then just find an hour later I've mindlessly been scrolling Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, I really don't miss those things. So we just got back from snorkeling around Heron Island. We just walked straight out from our apartment and hit the water and snorkeled all the way around the island. It was awesome. We saw a couple of turtles, beautiful big sea turtles, some sharks, not the scary type that will eat you. We saw so many stingrays, really massive stingrays, beautiful fish and coral. Yeah, it was fantastic, and the sun came out for us, which was amazing because it's been really rainy and overcast since we got here, so it was really nice to get out for an hour and enjoy it while the sun was out. So it's been a beautiful, beautiful morning. So there are two types of digital sabbaticals, in my opinion. There's the working sabbatical and then there's the vacation sabbatical. This one I'm on right now is a vacation sabbatical. I really have no plans to do any work apart from doing this little bit of filming, which is just really fun. It's not work per se. Whereas other times, you know, I've taken myself away to a hotel for 5 days. I've banned myself from not only the internet but my Kindle, which is really hard to do, and I've, you know, decided to do deep work related to my business, like planning, thinking ahead, brainstorming and that sort of thing. It's amazing what you can get done when you keep yourself away from the internet for 5 days or more. And then of course there's, you know, the vacation sabbaticals just like this one. One that I took was, I did a 6-day hiking trip where I did the Great Walk on Fraser Island, which is a beautiful through hike. So, you know, you take all your own camping gear and food, and it's 6 days walking through massive old rainforests, stopping at beautiful lakes, and that was a really fantastic way to disconnect and unwind and switch off from the world. I understand it can be really scary the first time you consider switching off from everything for a period of time. You know, especially when we're running a business, we feel like we always have to be available, and what happens if we're not, and will we upset people, will people be pissed off? And I understand that fear totally, but at the same time, you know, we deserve to have a life outside of our work as well. And I think it's really important that we set those boundaries and we learn how to set those boundaries for ourselves and for other people, so that we're not always at the beck and call of other people's needs, right? It's really important for our own sanity and for the longevity of our ability to do this work, to switch off for a while. Because when you're you know, attached to the internet, to social media, to email all the time, it's like this low level of anxiety that is always there, just in the back of your mind, no matter what you're doing. It's like, I could just check this, if I just look at that, and you find yourself reaching for it all the time, over and over, even when it's not work time, even when it's, you know, not an appropriate time to be looking at it, and it just becomes an addiction, really. And it's really important to set good digital hygiene into your working life, you know, like having a time when you start work, having a time when you stop work, having dedicated times to deal with and process all of those sorts of types of work. Otherwise it can just bleed into every single part of your life, and take it from my personal experience, that is not a healthy way to be, and it doesn't allow you to really just disconnect and decompress. You know, if the idea of taking a week off like I am seems too much and too overwhelming, then I strongly recommend you just start with a day. Just do it for one day, and then maybe a weekend, and then maybe a long weekend, you know, take Friday off, take Monday off, and then slowly but surely build up to that point where you're confident that you can take the break and things won't fall apart. I mean, it's also really important to prepare for something like this. You know, I did a whole bunch of videos ahead of time and edited them, scheduled them to go up. I notified everybody that need to be notified, the members of the Thriver Circle. I sent out an email, I put a notice in their membership site. I had somebody there to take care of them while I'm gone in my membership community. I have an autoresponder set up on my email, my messages with FAQs telling people, if you're a jewellery customer, here's what you need to know. If you're a Thriver Circle member, here's what you need to know. Everybody else, I'll get back to you on this date. And just educating and informing people as to what you're doing. And I think you'll find most people will understand that you aren't a machine and that you do need to take a break from your work every so often. So it's our last morning on Heron Island. It's beautiful blue sky day, which is fantastic. We've had quite a bit of cloud, so it's nice to finish off with a beautiful blue sky day. I went for a swim this morning early, just after sunrise, and saw a flight of stingrays swimming by me, and a beautiful big trumpet fish, and so many other beautiful fish and coral, and it was a really nice way to finish off the trip. So I've got a few more days on my digital sabbatical when we get home, and then I'll be back to work on Monday. It's Friday now, so the weekend will just be chilling at home. But yeah, it's been an awesome trip, and it's been a really nice break away from everything. So finishing up a digital sabbatical, I think it's important to sort of take the lessons through that you've learned, the things that you've learned about yourself. Did you miss your phone? Did you miss the internet? Were there things that you really wish you could have done? Or did you find that you really didn't miss it as much as you thought you would, or maybe at all? In which case, it's a really good thing to take through to the rest of your life. One thing you can do to keep this sort of experience going is like a weekly sabbatical, or Sabbath, like some people call it, a digital Sabbath, where from sunset on one day to sunset the next day, you ignore the internet and devices and so on. Again, choosing what your level is. You might be like, I don't want to touch my phone or my computer during that time, or it might just be a case of I'm not going to look at my email or my messages or my social media during that time. Whatever it is that stresses you out or distracts you or makes you feel like you're not really existing in the moment but being sucked into other people's priorities or other people's stories at the expense of writing your own, I think that's worthwhile realizing and maybe stepping away from on a regular basis, so that you can find that space and time and mental energy as well, that you're not being constantly pulled away like you are normally.